Welcome back to the $2 Film Club. And today we are talking about an older movie, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. But
2005 is old.
Yeah. Well, it's about as old as me, but
Dude, don't say that sentence again, please.
Anyways, so today we're talking about a movie from 2005 called Walk the Line, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon. For those of you who don't know, the new Michael movie is coming out. So we decided we would take a look on a different kind of musician biopic. We had a long discussion right before we jumped in here about like what a biopic is, because technically, it's a broad spectrum. But yeah, so this movie is directed by James Mangold, who you may recognize from the most recent Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown, and Logan. But yeah, so
wait, James Mangold, didn't he also do the last Indiana Jones movie?
Yes.
Oh my god, bro! Why would I remind myself of this?
I haven't seen that one, and I kind of forgot about it.
You need to watch it, bro. the ending. Do you know the ending of the movie?
No, don't tell me.
Okay,
though. I want it to be.
It is nothing you'd fucking expect. That's all I'll say.
I want to enjoy the movie up until that point when I.
Don't worry, you won't be enjoying it by that point. So, dude, the movie's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. When I saw,
wait, are you serious?
Yeah, dude, that motherfucker's long. When I saw Walk the Line was 2:19, I said, "Thank God, James Mangold." I don't think you can make anything sub 2:10.
That's funny. Anyways, we're getting a little off topic. But yeah, obviously James Mangold has had pretty successful career. He's done a lot of, well, not a lot, but he's done quite a few biopics. Also, I forget, he did Ford v Ferrari, didn't he?
Yeah, dude, I love Ford v Ferrari. It's one of my favorite. Like, I'm not a huge racing film guy. I mean, I don't think that's like a huge subgenre of film, but I'm not like typically a race car type of guy. Like, I haven't seen Rush, another biopic, I think, or biopic, not doc. Jesus, sorry, I was thinking about a documentary earlier. Jeez, but I thought Ford v Ferrari was like fantastic. Did you see Night and Day with Tom Cruise?
You mean the one with what's her name? Cameron Diaz?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he wrote that or directed that. That's crazy.
I always forget that he has. And dude, don't laugh at me for saying this, but you see that movie Kate and Leopold he did in 2001?
No.
Dude, absolute banger. And I had no clue he actually directed that.
He directed Girl Interrupted? Okay, dude, now I'm just finding out all this shit that he directed. I didn't even know he had this much. Like, yeah, dude,
I've heard a science fiction rom-com with Meg Ryan and Hugh Jackman and Liev Schreiber, bro, with Natasha Lyonne.
That's
in
funny.
2001.
I didn't know he did Night and Day. That I used to really like that movie when I first saw it.
Yeah, it's a solid action flick.
Yeah, and he did
3:10 to Yuma.
Yeah, 3:10, the remake of 3:10 to Yuma. That one's a great movie. I've seen that one. That one's really good.
So he's got a lot more bangers.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely got a more varied career than I thought he had.
Because I haven't seen Complete Unknown, so my last look at James Mangold was Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, A Complete Unknown is definitely probably a better movie than The Dial of Destiny. I thought that one was pretty good, and I think I had a better appreciation for it knowing that like he had direct Walk the Line, and having seen that like long before A Complete Unknown ever came out. So that was the reason. Like, even though I'm not really familiar with Bob Dylan like as an artist very much, like his discography, I was excited to see that because I knew it was a James Mangold movie, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be good. And then it turned out to be pretty good. Yeah. So.
Yeah, this definitely. I don't know if it gives me more encouragement to go watch that because, like I was saying before we started recording, like I'm not the biggest biopic fan. Like, yeah. I like going because generally I just kind of like learning about all these big influential people. Johnny Cash in this case, I don't know too much about him outside of the Folsom State Prison show that he did that this film focuses on at the end. And like all of his songs. That's all I really knew about him. I didn't know about his story. And this is one where I kind of feel when people talk about this film, I feel like they get it mixed up a little bit. They're always like, Walk the Line does such a good job at really fleshing out who Johnny Cash was as a person with the drugs and his love life. And I think I agree to like that sentiment to a certain extent, because it does go a little bit deeper than I think some more of the more like, I'll just say, more recent biopics. Like, they don't go into those because they want to keep a better appearance for who those famous people were. And I'll be honest, that's part of the reason why I don't want to see Jackson. I'm sure it's going to make a lot of money, and I'm sure it's going to be good to a certain extent, but I'm afraid they're really just going to point all like the glimmering stuff that isn't just dealing with his father and his early childhood. So I give the film Walk the Line credit for like not just doing that type of stuff, but I still wish that it went a little bit deeper in like the psychology of Johnny Cash, especially being based off 2 books.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, I think that's where a lot of people get that from, is that because I think I read somewhere that even though it is based on those 2 like or autobiographies, they said that Johnny Cash didn't really delve too much into like some of the more traumatic elements of his life. So that was kind of where that's kind of being pulled from elsewhere.
see, and I think you can really. This is what I hate when I hate talking about biopics, is because like I hate being like, oh, you could see that in the movie, like because like, bro, it's real life. There's nothing I think you can obviously do, and I'm not saying it as a critique towards the film. I just think there's better ways at like navigating around those like holes in stories, because I do think there is enough here of Johnny Cash's young childhood that they try to focus on too much, I feel. And that's where it kind of rubs me a little bit, is because I'd rather them focus on him and June's relationship, but then it tries to like deal with all of his brother's death in the beginning, or when they were children. And I forgot the name of his first wife that he had for like 2 or 3 kids with, but Vivian, like you don't even get a good sense of like their relationship and why he essentially just said fuck this life for June, outside of, oh, she seems to care about me, when I had felt that way towards the first wife. And I don't think the film did a fantastic job at making me as the audience find a compassion towards Johnny Cash. And I'm not saying it needs to, but it feels like it's trying to.
Yeah, I agree. This is something that I particularly had strong feelings about the first time I watched it, but I do remember this, watching it a couple hours ago. I was kind of sitting there being like, like obviously it's not shying away from the fact that Johnny Cash is kind of a dick, but also at the same time, I felt it was odd that we didn't spend a lot of time understanding like the relationship dynamic between him and his first wife, which I think would have gone just like a little more the extra mile to explain kind of what everyone was like dealing with in terms of like internally, is what I'm trying to say, because it skims past him meeting her, it skims past them even really getting
kids.
married and and having kids, and we're just kind of expected to go along so that we can get to like the singing stuff. And then by the time you get to, their eventual split and whatnot, it kind of felt like there wasn't enough groundwork, because it makes both of them look bad. I didn't particularly feel much towards her character either, but, aside from like a surface level thing.
No, yeah, I agree. I feel like that's the biggest shock to me, like coming out of this film, is I wasn't expecting the film to make Johnny Cash seem like, I don't want to say such a bad person, but I definitely didn't like him by the end of the film. And that, to me, that's not something I don't want to say I don't like, because I could do the research and find out who he was as a person. I have no like connection towards Johnny Cash. I just liked his music, but I just don't know what the film is trying to tell me or us as the audience about Johnny Cash and how he grew up, by the way the film ends, by the way it starts. It just all feels really confusing for me. And I think that's why I'm kind of struggling to find some of the words a little bit because the film just goes off into so many different directions and then comes back to, oh, look, he's just on heavy drugs again.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that more, like, we could have spent a little more time, because 2 hours and 15 minutes isn't a lot. I feel like an extra 15 minutes just to flesh out like some things would have been nice. Because and again, like, by the end, I understand what they were going for. It's just you're I feel like it doesn't quite hit as hard because of the way that it's set up, and the way that the sorry, I'm trying to find the word. Like, the way that they're characterized, it kind of didn't gel very well with me. But I mean, it didn't do enough to, like, ruin my experience with it. I just kind of felt like maybe there could have been a little something else going on, or maybe just dialed back on some of the other stuff, because I don't think his first marriage ends up being that important to what's going on either. So there's that.
I mean, that's fine because I think going back to what you were saying, the film does a good job at providing what I think the audience needs to feel by the end, with his whole little interaction with Robert Patrick, his dad, at the end, and him kind of finally giving him that respect that he's just been endearing for throughout the entire movie. Or I really like the scene towards the end where him and June are on the bus at like 2 a.m. towards the end of the film, and he tries to propose to her. But then I think that instantly gets like undercut because of everything before and then after that scene. Between the film just makes him feel super desperate that the whole time I'm just like, June, get away from him, please. Like, it would just be better for you and your two children, because the film gives me a hard time at figuring out a reason at why she finds a reason to help him. Because I know this is a film about him, but it feels so much more about the relationship. And the poster even has both of them on it. So I feel like that's what the film needed to do a little bit better, is just focus in on their relationship more.
Yeah.
And I think that means giving a little bit more to Reese Witherspoon. Even though she won a fucking Oscar for this movie, I still think there's like a lot of stuff for her. I don't want to say character, but June as a person in this medium. Like, I think there's a way to express her character in a way that wasn't the way this film did it, because she feels like a very flat character to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily feel that she was like super flat. I just think the way that the movie characterizes her, it doesn't help with what the story they want to tell. And I think some of that could have been alleviated by maybe taking some more focus onto like her story and her backstory. Like, she explains it to Johnny, but I kind of wanted to see more of that. And with how much the movie kind of like does focus on like their love story and whatnot, and the marketing stuff too, I feel like it could have, like, instead of it just being solely about Johnny Cash, could have been like, she could have been more of like a co-lead, if that makes sense. Even though,
Well, that's what it feels like the film's trying to do.
Yeah,
and that's why it like kind of bothers me, because it wants to, but they're like completely going against it at the same time.
I would say I agree with that, because I do think there's more room for like her part of the story, and I think that would have helped you as well with like not truly understanding like what what makes her decide in the end to actually like help him or be with him and stuff. And I think too, like, cutting out some other stuff too, like, I think the bus scene is a good scene. It just happens like too late in the film, because right after that is the ending of the movie, when he asks her again to marry him, and asking is a strong term. Like, he does technically ask, but
I don't even know what word to call that, but it made
he
me
like
feel
coerces
uncomfortable.
her into saying yes, because he does it in front of an entire audience, in front of the entire band and whatnot. And like, you can see the look on her face that she's kind of like embarrassed by the situation. That's the part where it like falls apart for me. And it doesn't help by the fact that she literally like a few hours before declined again, like refused him again. And so I feel like if they wanted it to be like that moment of like release, I guess, or climax for like that story, then they could have just like not because we already get the point. Like we've seen him ask her like so many times when he's like, you know, on drugs and not in his right mind. And like even in the when we cut back to the Folsom prison stuff, you know, he tells that person like she's not the warden, that she's not his wife. And even though like he keeps asking her, so like we get the point. We don't need to see another failed attempt. And I just think it doesn't help with, you know, them finally like deciding to be together when she's like clearly not only declined his offer but is angry about it. You know what I mean? That's the part that I struggle with.
No, yeah, I agree. And to kind of add on to like what I think is bothering you, which like also bothers me, is throughout the entire film, it feels like part of Johnny's issue is this inability of forming a true relationship. And by the end, it still feels like the relationship is forced. And it never feels like he actually learned his lessons that got him off drugs. And it feels counterproductive or counterintuitive to like what they've been saying throughout the entire movie outside of like what the points you mentioned were. And that's why I think for me it felt kind of weird. And I texted this to you. He could have put a gun to her head and it wouldn't have made any difference at the end of the movie. Like it felt really odd, especially like I was not expecting that type of ending. I was waiting for such a more bittersweet ending, which is the one we got where he's going to the lake. He has that moment with his dad. But I think that is so overshadowed by this really weird and awkwardly creepy, like forced coercion into not even proposal, just getting her to marry him.
Yeah.
And then I said this to you. I was like kind of like, no way they went on to like live together for 35 years, married. They had a child. I'm like, dude, did this actually happen? Because this doesn't feel like a person that truly loves Johnny Cash. And it feels like it's going back to the very start of the beginning of the film where that's exactly what he's been missing from his life, where, yeah, he had his mother's support throughout everything, but she never truly loved him. You never saw her ever like come to his support. She never called him. She never visits him. Like she never does anything. His father's an asshole, yada, yada, yada. And so I don't know. It just feels really disingenuous towards Johnny Cash, but also I don't know that much about him, so that's why I'm kind of thrown by it a little bit.
Yeah. No. I mean, again, I'm not like I haven't read those autobiographies or anything, so I don't know. I mean, in terms of the movie, like Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon have good chemistry, and there are scenes between them that I think do a good job of like showing us their relationship and what they like about each other. But then so much of the movie is also dedicated to showing like not only how much of an asshole he is, but how much like his life is constantly falling apart. And so I don't think it does a good job of like resolving some of that stuff by the end, especially like with him and his wife, because as soon as she leaves, she's just completely out of the story, and we like never see his kids again either, which is kind of odd. And
Yeah, you're only ever told about them after that. It's just like,
Yeah.
you still have two kids. You still have two kids. Like, he does?
and that's another thing, because it's just like he loses so much focus on like the other aspects of his life outside of pining for June, that it kind of just feels awkward, because it's like, okay, so you gave up literally everything for, you know, just this one pretty woman that you're obsessed with. And I don't know, I just feel like, you know, I would have liked at least one extra moment to explain sort of what the deal is with his kids and how he, you know, how they move forward with that. Because again, once she's gone, she's gone. You never see her again. You never hear anything else about her. And I just thought that was kind of awkward.
Yeah, no, I agree. But going back to what you were saying before, I thought they had good enough chemistry to where I think I just bought into it by the end. You already know, like, they get married, they have a kid, yada, yada, yada. So ultimately, at the end, it really doesn't matter. But like I said, their chemistry holds a lot of this movie because, I don't know. I think I was kind of expecting more coming into this movie and didn't get it. but I also don't know what I was expecting. I guess I feel like I was expecting to find out more about him. Does that make sense? Because I feel like I didn't learn who Johnny Cash was. I just learned, it feels like I learned how people viewed Johnny Cash.
Yeah, I think the thing is like the movie's kind of trying to do a lot, and I think it nails most of it. It's just sometimes it kind of feels a little disconnected, and I feel like maybe like, I mean we've kind of been saying this already, but like focusing on one aspect of his life, because that's kind of the thing that I like about A Complete Unknown is that it's not trying to tell his entire life story. And I mean it still covers a lot of ground, but I think it does a lot better of a job of like telling a more tight story, and I think that's kind of what this needed as well. So yeah, whether that's just like just completely focusing on the love story or focusing on like his drug stuff or whatever, I just think either that or just spending more time on on each of those things to like get like a better resolution to them by the end. But I mean, I also think it's a good movie. Like I still enjoyed watching it. I think for like a general audience of someone like who doesn't know a lot about his life, it still is enough. But obviously, we've been talking about how it could have been better.
No, yeah, I agree. It's just funny. I forgot what point it was. I think it's like once he finally gets over his addiction and he starts wearing the black suit everywhere to like
Oh,
fully represent himself. For me, it was so funny seeing him just like turn into an Avenger after that. The dude just totally switched personalities and personas. I'm like, whoa, who's this new Johnny Cash guy coming in, bro? Because this wasn't the Johnny Cash I just saw 2 seconds ago, breaking down in someone's car or something, bro.
mm,
I don't know. And I just wish they were a little bit deeper on the drug stuff. Just because they hint at the father having the same issue when he was younger, or
oh, with
when
the drinking.
yeah, with the drinking, and like there were so many good ways to connect it all that I think kind of fell flat. But overall, I think I did enjoy this movie. It kind of flew by. I like the set pieces. I thought they really like entrapped you into Johnny Cash's world back then. Like I really liked the Folsom State Prison scene and
Oh
set.
yeah, yeah.
I thought it was all really well done. And I think that's also another good thing that a good biodoc can do is like entrapping the audience in the actual time and era in which it takes place. And I think that's kind of hard.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm reading over right now. We said Reese Witherspoon won Best Actress, but this also got nominated for Best Actor for Joaquin Phoenix, Best Sound Mixing, Best Costume Design, and Best Film Editing. I Costume design, I get, yeah. Best film editing, not too sure about.
Was there anything in particular that like you thought
It
stood out in
nothing.
terms of editing, or?
Well, that's what I was saying. It didn't feel like anything stood out. I don't feel like any shot really impressed me too much. And I'm not talking about from like, oh, he did this really cool 360 shot going from inside a door out the window following this one guy. Like, I'm not talking about like that, but I don't feel like a lot of the camera angles told me about much of the inner conflict of characters. Like when they went up to like the, oh my God, the close ups. I don't feel like they were meaningful close up shots. It felt like, oh, this is just a good acting moment, so just put this in. That was the problem. I felt so disconnected from the general feelings of the characters in this movie, and I'm having a hard time figuring out why. Because I thought the acting was good, I thought the pacing was good, and I think it's got to be the editing.
Um,
Because I'm also looking at what it's gone up against that year in 2006.
I don't particularly remember.
Cinderella Man, Crash, which won, because we spoke about this on our first episode.
It went for editing, or?
Yeah, for editing. Munich and The Constant Gardener.
Oh, the music
Never
was
heard
up
of
for that
that.
too.
Yeah.
I've seen Munich. Um,
I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
it's a
I've heard of a Cinderella Man. Never seen it,
yeah,
though.
never seen it either.
But yeah, dude, Crash was a far better film. So I understand. Because Crash just smoked everyone this year outside of. I don't know. It actually, pretty well balanced. Brokeback Mountain, King Kong won a few. Brokeback Mountain won a few. Bro, when you got King Kong winning best sound mixing and best sound editing, you know you're fucked. I'm sorry, but like a film like Walk the Line should win those categories, right?
Mm. You mean because it's about a music person or a musician?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it won a Grammy, I'm pretty sure, so maybe that helps with that.
Congrats.
But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I didn't
yet.
I didn't really notice anything that off about the editing. Like there wasn't.
No,
anything
I'm not. Like I said,
that
I
thought-
don't think it was like off. It just felt
Yeah.
very bland to me. It didn't. Do
I mean,
anything.
it is kind of shot, not over. Like how do I explain this? Like there's stuff in this that I thought was good, like on a technical standpoint, but I think a lot of it does kind of feel a little generic in terms of the way it's shot and sometimes the way it's lit. But I mean, I kind of expect that from the kind of movie it is and the time that it came out. So
Yeah. I don't know. All right.
any last final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I just guess I'm not a big biopic person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
I feel
I'm
like
not either.
I just come out of most feeling like, all right, that was a film.
Yeah. I think the thing is that a lot of biopics struggle to tell like their entire life story, and also centering it around like a specific conflict, and that's kind of the bread and butter of a movie, of a story.
I wish they would just
And-
like have the Folsom thing be the center of the movie. And I'm not saying it's not like a big impact moment in the movie, but it feels like something that just randomly happens. And I'll be honest, when it happened, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot this happened. But you know what I mean? Like you got the why can't I remember the name of the Queen biopic?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody, duh. Even like that's the one thing I'd give Bohemian Rhapsody over this movie is it used the Live Aid event as the climax of the film and gave it like a natural start and end point where it wasn't telling Freddie Mercury's entire life. It was just giving you the prospect of like his entire famous part, like those 5 to 10 years where he was just everywhere. And I think that's what this film kind of needed to do. It just kind of went all over the place a little bit too much.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get into final ratings?
Yeah.
All right, I'm pulling up Letterbox.
All right. While you're doing that, I guess I'll go over mine. I didn't leave a review. I just gave it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, I didn't leave a review either. I gave it 3 out of 4 stars. 3 out of 5 stars, not 4. Jesus Christ. Like I said, I just feel like that's just a lot of biopics. I don't feel like I come out of most of them generally oversight or like I don't know, just hyped about something. Like Bohemian Rhapsody sure is solid. I'll say this: the biodocs involving like famous musicians / actors, like The Social Network, I thought's really good. I think it's called Jobs. Yeah, of course, Oppenheimer.
Yeah, the Jobs movie. Isn't
Jobs
that an Aaron
is-
Sorkin movie?
Aaron Sorkin, and it does something really smart, bro. The entire film is told in 3 acts, and each act is
Yeah.
an influential moment that caused the next one.
Oh, that's right. So sorry, Danny Boyle directed it, and it was written by Aaron.
By
Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin.
That's why it's a great movie.
And it's got Michael Fassbender's Steve Jobs. Like,
Dude, yeah.
And he looks like him. The dude fucking looks like him.
Dude, everyone in this movie is fucking hardcore. Like Michael Fassbender, Kate Winslet, Seth Rogen, Jeff Daniels. Like all of them are great in that movie.
It definitely got overlooked.
Yeah.
But those are, I think, more of the biopics that I lean towards wanting to watch. Just because I feel like when it comes to famous musicians and actors, they only ever feel like they can go so far. And I feel like that goes for every one of them. It's not like one in particular. It's not like it's just this one. Bohemian Rhapsody, they all do it.
Yeah. Lincoln is another good one too. I mentioned to that.
That one, I gotta watch that.
Lincoln, yeah, Lincoln's pretty good. It's a Steven Spielberg movie. Daniel Day-Lewis plays Lincoln. See, that one's another one. Like that one is specifically about him trying to pass the 13th Amendment. So it's like got a concise like conflict that, you know, it has a clear beginning and end to the movie as well. And mind you, like obviously all of, like the political stuff is, or the Civil War stuff is going on in the background too. Like, so.
But like you also have like Raging Bull. That's a good. I think that's a good example of telling the story of someone's life. No way, bro. I'm not saying it's his best film. It's not my favorite. No, I mean,
I think it's a good movie. I got too in my head about how much I didn't like the main character. That's my thing. Is that like
I forgot Black Klansman was one too. Sorry, I'm just going through a list of them right now.
Black Klansman's an interesting one too. That one's I'm not saying that's bad. That's a great movie. It's just that one didn't immediately jump to me because, you know, I more think of it as like a comedy movie.
Gotta look deeper than the comedy, Leo.
But yeah, that one's really good too. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, this is crazy. It takes place in Colorado too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
If I remember correctly. Yep, Colorado Springs.
Elephant Man, also another good one.
That one's on my list. I haven't seen it yet. That's a David Lynch movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's on my list.
Bonnie and Clyde was really good.
Haven't seen that.
Green Book was solid. I know people shit on that. I won't talk about The Irishman.
I haven't seen that.
But like one I think people talk about a lot is Man on the Moon.
What's that one?
That's the one where
is that the Jim Carrey one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I've heard it's good.
I don't know Andy Kaufman. I never watched too much of him, but I'd seen Man on the Moon like a while ago, and holy shit, bro, does like when I tell you I did not recognize Jim Carrey, that's like something you talk about. And if you go like looking at the behind the scenes, when I tell you he went full method for the film, motherfucker went full method. I think those are just some good other examples of like biopics that either tell the full extent of someone's life or a certain event that is like an encapsulation of who they were in their career was. But Leo, what are we watching next week?
All right, so a little bit of a break in the schedule. We didn't exactly have anything planned, and Ryan's also going out of town, so we won't be back next week, but the week after that we will be, and we are going to be looking back on an important franchise, let's say. But the new Mortal Kombat movie is coming out. And so we're going to be taking a look back on
Dude, this is the Mortal Kombat episode?
Yeah, the first Mortal Kombat. We're doing the 90s version, right?
We're doing both. We're doing the first one and the sequel, bro. I need you to watch that sequel.
I've seen the first one, and I've seen clips from the second one. So it's going to be a little bit of a...
Clips don't do you justice, my friend.
But yeah, I'm excited to see how bad it's gonna get, but I am super excited about the new one that's coming out. Obviously, we were gonna do a Mortal Kombat back when it had its original October release date, but now we're finally getting back to it. So,
dude, I'm just excited because it actually looks like they're making one based off the games for a change.
Yeah. I had issues. Like, I still like the one that came out in, like, what was it, 2021 or whatever?
Yeah, 21. But why make a fucking non-character from the games the lead? Like, it makes no sense.
And that's my main problem with that movie, is that I think the movie is perfectly fine as it is. Just get rid of Cole and just make Sonya the main character, because literally the movie would be absolutely perfect if she was just the main character, and it would be pretty much set up the same way too, is my thing. But anyways, that we'll be back. Don't you guys?
I'm excited.
We'll be back.
And let us know down below what you guys thought of Walk the Line. Without that said, leave a like and comment down below, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.